Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Kansas City Business Cast, where we get a cast of entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders, and anyone else we deem necessary to come on the show and educate the masses on what it's like working with businesses in Kansas City. If you are listening, and especially if you've been listening for a long time, make sure you leave us a rating on Spotify. If you own an iPhone, that means you got an Apple ID. You can leave us a written review on Apple. You can leave us 5 stars. And then if you're on YouTube, we'll be bringing more video there later on, but of course, engage with us there. All right, now that I got all that stuff out of the way, I've got an awesome guest here today, Charon Thompson from Black Drip Coffee and Porterhouse KC. He is in the house at Kingdom Studios today. I'm just really excited to have you here, Charon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you for going through all the filling out the form and all the availability with everything you got going on, man.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you got to know a little bit about who your guest is. So yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess Cam kind of started this on the show, but what are you grateful for today?
Hey, I love gratitudes and challenges. So I am grateful always for God, family, my kids, the entrepreneurs who I help in the community, and also just being here and enjoying you know. Yeah, man.
I'm grateful for you as well. I was doing my journaling. I'm going through that 300 Reasons challenge, and definitely grateful for the stage that we're in life. I know we'll talk about it today, about what it's like having a full-time job and then also trying to run entrepreneurial endeavors. And then especially with you in the nonprofit work that you're doing, it's just incredible, man. So I'm in the presence of a legend. I'm glad to have you on this show, man.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think it's important to maybe start from the beginning, thinking about your journey and, becoming an entrepreneur. Like, where did that idea start? And this is basically where I ask everybody, like, what's your origin story,
Origin story. So I was born in Leominster, Massachusetts. I had a twin sister. We came here when we was about 7 years old, and we was always built to try to sell stuff. My mom, she was a teacher. So she was like, hey, you got to go to the door and, sell your product. So we sell candy. We used to sell candy at school. It was more like, it wasn't just those dollar bars. It was more like the Twix and Skittles. So we had our lockers filled up and we were selling it to the students. But that was where I guess my entrepreneur spirit came from. And then I met with Dan in college. We were fraternity brothers.
So that's Dan C. Smith, right?
Dan Smith. Dan Smith, the co-founder of Porterhouse KC and Black Drip Coffee. So I met him through pledging at UMKC Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated, our fraternity. And it was an amazing experience. And we started our first business. First business was called Smith Thompson Maintenance.
Okay.
All right. So the Smith Thompson Maintenance, we was struggling to find the resources to help us start this business. This was back when I was like 19. I'm 43 now. Speaking my age.
I'm 41, man. Fixing to be 42 next month.
So we started our business, Smith Thompson Maintenance, at an early age. And it was one of those things where we was passionate about trying to, start our business. Couldn't find resources. So down the line.
And what type of business was that? Maintenance? Was that like HVAC or?
It was make readies. So we was cleaning apartments.
Oh, okay.
We would clean houses out, after people, move out or whatever.
Got it.
A lot of times people don't make their house, to get their deposit, or clean the house to get deposits. We be the guys to clean it up and make it look nice, presentable for the next person. So we did that. And that was hard work. I tell you that. Bathrooms, kitchens, that's really tough work to do.
Absolutely.
Clean up. But we did that for roughly 4 years or so. We actually had another partner named Armand Pagui, and he actually was with us, and he was kind of the brains behind the Smith Thompson Maintenance. But we got a lot of apartments across Kansas, across Missouri. We was actually over that. And when we down the line, Dan moved to Florida, and I kind of stayed here, and I worked at Peachtree for a while. It was actually Peachtree on 18th and Vine.
Okay.
So I worked at Peachtree at 18th and Vine, and then I applied to the railroad, and I got on the railroad. And then Dan was like, "Hey, I want to start up this nonprofit trying to help entrepreneurs." I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like,
"From Florida, or had he relocated?"
Well, he was coming back to Kansas City. And he was up here like, "Hey, I want to do this." And I was like, "Okay, I got you. I join you." So we started Event Speaker Series.
Speaker.
The speaker series was more of like entrepreneurs that were professionals that knew about their craft. Like, say we had an attorney come in and talk about the legal aspects of being an entrepreneur. We had an accountant come in, talk about the money and finances and taxes with being an entrepreneur. Who else we had? And we just had regular entrepreneurs telling their experience, kind of like how we are right now.
Watershed moment for me right now, man. That's full circle. And I mean, like, and not to interrupt you again, but like, who was your audience? Were you inviting like people who wanted to learn? Like,
so we was inviting everybody. We was like, come out, community. These were free. And down the line, Kaufman reached out to us. Actually, I went to Kaufman beforehand, trying to see if we could get grants or whatnot. And they reached out to us, and Dan had this meeting with Erin, and she said, "Hey, you guys got a thing here. I want to be a part of it. So let me give y'all some money so y'all can have food for each of these events," right?
That's
and
awesome.
We was up here like, okay, cool. That's a good start. And we had food at every event we had, and it was like once a month. It was like Thursdays out the month. And she was up here like, "Okay, you guys got something." She was like, "I want to give you guys a little more, but I need a little more from y'all." So we was up here like, well, we can help other businesses with small business development, have a curriculum.
Right.
And, so we have a 15-week curriculum. And we also have a mentor-mentee program. So we was like, yeah, she was that will work. So we got bigger grants from that with the Porterhouse KC. And from there, we was up late, helping out entrepreneurs. And we was like, we want to start this. We was drinking a lot of coffee, and we was like, hey, we drinking a lot of coffee here.
Absolutely.
I was like, why not do our own coffee? And it's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I was up here like, hey, I'm going to go get a roaster. And I got this little roaster. It was like $50. And
how big is a roaster? Because you're making movements. We don't have the video. But
no. So the roaster that I got is like kind of like a pan, a little small pan. So it have like a clear top on it. You can see the beans roast or whatever. You leave them for like 15 minutes or so. So
okay, so it like almost looks like a crock pot type of thing,
like a crock pot.
But you can see what's
you can see it kind of rotating, and so I did that.
Just because you guys are drinking a lot of coffee.
We was drinking a lot of coffee. I brought green beans, and I brought the little roaster. So when I did that, it smelled like burnt popcorn. I didn't know that. I thought it smelled like, coffee. You smell coffee and you're like, oh, that smells so good. No, it was the opposite. It smelled like burnt popcorn. My wife got mad at me.
Because it was in the house.
It was in the house, of course. It's amazing. She was up for like, what are you doing? She was like, I was on the couch for 2 weeks. So yeah, it was pretty bad.
Wow.
So I was like, I got to reach out to somebody about the roasting process and, help with the beans or something. So I reached out to Isaac Hodges of Messenger Coffee.
Yes, sir.
And this was actually on LinkedIn.
You shot him a message on LinkedIn? I
shot him a message on LinkedIn, and he was up here like, yeah, I'll help you, right? I was like, okay, so what's the next steps? He was like, we do a couple cuppings. So we did cuppings, which are, tastings kind of.
Okay.
So we came up with, we did 30 cuppings, which is 30 tastings of the coffee. So it's different types, and we came up with the Renegade blend. So the Renegade blend is the Brazil, Venezuela, and Guatemala.
I'm going to crack this right now, man. You talking about it.
Yeah.
Sharon brought some black drip coffee, cold brew. We'll talk about where
Cold
to get
brew.
it too.
Yeah.
So Renegade.
Yeah. So we we came up with that blend, and black drip actually came from Dan and I. You know, he was like, man, you got some drip here. Black drip, right? I was like, oh, so that's where the name Black Drip came up. And Renegade, the story behind Renegade. So Dan and I, when we was pledging on our fraternity, we before we go in and, you know, go to sets, we would listen to Renegade by Eminem. So that's where Renegade came from. So it was one of the motivations that kept us going. Yeah.
Man, that is so cool.
Yeah.
So much just that you got me thinking about there. And I love, and I know like you're asked this question quite a bit, right?
Right.
And you're used to, you've gotten over time, you've probably developed ways to tell your story effectively. You just gave me like a snapshot of like from the time you were selling candy out of your backpack to now you got Porterhouse and you got Black Drip. And it's amazing because like I can see how kinetic all of that was. It was, hey, we're starting a nonprofit and we're drinking a lot of coffee. We should make the coffee.
Right.
How do we do that? And I'm just curious, when you first did it, did you like watch a YouTube video or did you just say, oh, this is a coffee roaster, here's the instructions? Like how did you do that?
Oh yeah, we definitely watch YouTube. YouTube is our friend behind everything. So yeah, we was like, I mean, I saw the same as that roaster and I saw somebody doing it and mine just happened to smell like burnt popcorn and that's what reason. Right. But yeah, it was good. I mean, it was going well, but you know, I got a little help from the messenger guys and they actually have a teaching classes, you know, how to do coffee. So they are pretty dope, man.
So you started with roasted coffee.
Yes.
Right. And we talked about earlier about the cost associated with starting up, you know, a coffee operation. And I mean, my goodness, my wife, I think for our second child, her push present, you know how push presents are a thing. I got her one of those OXO cold brewers. And I was like, what do you mean it has to sit there for 48 hours?
Oh, yeah.
I need a burr grinder. I remember burr grinder was better than like the regular grinder. I started nerding out on that stuff. And what's that like? What was that genesis like where you started roasting, but then you were like getting into the cold brew and learning from Isaac, like that whole process? What's involved with that?
So the whole process was there are coffee snobs out there. Most definitely is people.
I'm not one of them, but
it's people that are real picky about their coffee. So yeah, the whole process of that was, man, it was exciting. Like we love coffee so much that, you know, we was like trying different coffees. We was trying different styles. We wanted the coffee to reach out to people that normally don't drink coffee. So that was the whole goal, to bring something that is unique to the community that we serve. So we wanted that aspect. And man, the way Isaac and them, they just, you know, was like open to helping us and teaching us. It was amazing. I loved the whole entire experience.
Amazing, man. So what does the operation look like right now? Because like I've seen your stuff. So you guys sell it out of Ruby Jeans, Black Pantry. That's actually where I bought mine from Brian over there. Yeah. But like what is, tell me about the operation. Like, how do you do this? Like, and get it in a can and get it out there. And
so the can aspect, that was a pretty, it was a pretty penny to do that, to be honest. I wanted to bring a cold brew out because we was doing a blend for a while. So I wanted to bring something fresh and something that a lot of people drink. So they told me cold brew or iced coffee. I say cold brew. So that's what I did and behind that. But the stores, some Merc Co+ops, Ruby Jeans, The Spot, The Prospect, which is on the 18th of Vine or near 18th of Vine. Okay. The coffee served there. Ruby Jeans, been there for a while. Where else? District Biscuit.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, District Biscuit. They have the coffee there too. Where else? There's a couple other places, but yeah, it's couple of hotels and banks that have it too. So
okay,
in their offices. Yeah.
So when you were scaling that, I mean, so did you start cold brew like in your house too? And
No.
How do you do that?
No, the cold brew actually came from the Renegade blend. It's basically just the Renegade blend. You know, you make the coffee and you have to make it cold or whatever, so it steeps or whatever. So that's where the cold brew came from.
Okay.
So it was just cold coffee that over time, over 24 hours or so.
Right. Why is cold brew stronger than like regular coffee, like grounds?
You know what? I have I had a slice. I did. No, it's just over time. You know, it's steeped, so it's when the acid and all that, it gets a little bit stronger in the coffee. So it's the pH balance.
Okay.
So it makes it a little stronger. So get the jitters if you drink too much. You know, like the coffee, but.
Right.
Cold brew is a little bit stronger to me.
Man. So you talked about, you know, getting your full-time job.
Yeah.
So you're doing that full-time.
The BNSF. Yeah.
BNSF. Right. And what do you do for them?
So I'm a heavy machine operator.
Okay.
So yeah, I be out there on the tracks.
That's a manly job, man.
Yeah, it's a manly job. All weather, all time, you know, blood, sweat, tears.
Yeah.
I mean, I like working with my hands. I like being outside. So that's one of my things to do. I like the railroad, you know.
Right. So with having a family, like, and you got Black Drip and you've got Porterhouse, and you know, we're going to tag all your socials here on this episode as well. But when I see you, you're out there and it's like one day you're like in 3 or 4 different places.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Oh yeah.
Like you're absolutely crushing it. And I just, with that, I wonder, like, you know, what's the secret? I mean, you've said too, I don't hold the keys to things like information. I want everybody to know what I know. Right. And it's evident in the work that you do through what you do. But man, if somebody's out there, because I know when people listen to these episodes, if they're in a 9 to 5 or they're working 50 to 60 hours a week and they got kids, they're like, there's no way I could do that. Yeah. I couldn't add extra things on that. But like, can you just tell us about like how you do what you do? Right.
So with the kids, my wife, she's everything. She's the backbone. She actually works for a nonprofit too, Amethyst Place.
Amethyst Place?
Amethyst Place.
Okay.
So her job's a little bit more flexible than my job. Okay. So she's taking the kids to school. I'm the one who's picking up the kids and meeting them at the house or whatever. Okay. So I am a helicopter dad. That means like I'm overprotective, or like, hey, what are you doing to my daughter? Or, you know, I am that guy. Sports, my kids are in boxing, football, softball, and they doing soccer. So yeah, I'm very active. As far as time, there is no time. I just do what I'm supposed to do, you know, and I actually have a break on Sunday. That is my only day that I have to myself. So, okay. Yeah, I try to keep that day free for just me. Yeah. Right. So, what do you do, man? Like, do you let your schedule run your day? like, you know what I mean? Cause like, when does your day start? I know I'm getting in the weeds here, man, but like, this is the stuff where like, cause I selfishly, I got you in the room here all by myself. Right. I'm like, how do you do it, man? What tips, tricks, things, what hasn't worked for you? What works for you now? Man, how do you do this, dude? So I wake up 5:30 every day. I have probably roughly 30 minutes to myself, you know, in the morning. So I sit, chill, you know, watch news or something. And then I take out my dog. And then I head to work. So 5:30 and I work at 7. So yeah, I try to keep that schedule every day. Even on, today I woke up 5:30 too. Okay. Sundays I usually wake up a little later, but yeah. Yeah. And then it's just energy part. And I just motivate myself to go. Like I sometimes drag, but I end up doing it. Or my wife should be like, you got to do this. And I'm like, oh no, but I end up doing it anyways. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's more of just pushing myself to do stuff. So yeah, I can't be everywhere all the time. I know, like, being somebody who helps entrepreneurs, they want me to be at all these events, and I can't be at all of them. So it's not me saying no to them. It's more of I don't have time to fit it in the schedule. So I try to, but I'll send a message and be like, sorry, I can't make it. But,
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do to keep yourself motivated, man? How do you take care of yourself so you can show up?
Man,
for everybody?
It's hot baths.
Hot baths? Okay.
Bubble baths.
It's amazing. Hey, man, that's a first. That's a first in a long time for me of talking with other dudes, and definitely a first on KCBC, dude. Bubble baths. Dude, I got to try that. I can't remember the last time I had one, man.
Whenever you interview Dan, man, ask him about that. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I was hot bubble baths, man. It makes me, kind of bring me down, and then I'm fresh, so I'm able to do whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Mentally, what do you do mentally throughout your day?
Mentally, I try to stay away from social medias all the time, so I don't be on social media. Like you might see me a couple times on there, and I'm like doing a lot, but it's really not me doing a lot. It's only me doing a little. And then I kind of just put my phone away. I answer emails probably within 2 hours of the day or something like that. So emails.
You bundle.
Yeah.
I noticed that you batch kind of your social media. You'll just send out a flurry.
Yeah.
It's like when you're talking about, like, it looks like I'm doing a lot, but I'm doing a little.
Yeah.
You're just efficient.
Yeah.
And then in emails, you set aside like 2 hours to get up.
Yeah.
That
so
makes sense.
I'm not a lot on social media like I used to be. I used to be on there all the day. And then I got free time at the job. Yeah, it's another deal.
Right.
To look at social media and stuff. So
right.
Yeah.
So your kids are in sports. Do you do any sports or activities outside of all the other things that you got going on?
So I used to do basketball on Wednesdays, but I really wasn't playing. It was for like 30s and up kind of deal. I really wasn't playing. I was just running around or jogging, trying to maintain the health. I haven't been in a while. I need to go back.
Yeah.
But running with my kids, that's mostly what I do. And then the dog I got a cane corso, so I'm really...
What's a cane corso?
It's Italian Mastiff.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have one of those, and she just keep me busy. So she wakes me up actually on time every day. So she's kind of like my alarm. So
that's cool, man. I mean, you've talked about some of your hobbies too, So like we're on this theme right now. Like I'm just asking about how do you do what you do? Like, again, I'm selfish, man. I want to know you. But we talked about comic books, and I don't know that my collection is like yours. But you said you got quite a collection, man.
I got a lot of boxes. I got the big boxes of comic books. I got comic books hanging on my wall. Yeah, I'm a big collector.
So I got to ask you, man, who are some of your favorite writers? What are some of your favorite arcs?
Writers, man, there was so many of them. I would have to say, it was a lot of them. I like Aquafina Richardson. I think that's her name. She's she wrote a lot of Black Panther, and she wrote Miss Marvel. And I think Squirrel Girl and some Wakanda. So she's pretty dope. She's a dope writer and artist. So
awesome.
Yeah, I follow her a lot. Actually, one of my frat brothers, he got a book, Jaquan Heron.
Okay.
He's with Vimeo. You probably should interview him too.
Okay.
He has his own comic book. So yeah, I kind of pushed him to be like, hey, go ahead and do your comic book thing. He ended up doing it.
That's awesome.
And it's called Scarlet Knight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scarlet Knight.
Yeah.
Again, nobody's safe from getting tagged on this show, man. I've told everybody, like our social tags, we will drop every name that comes up because, you know, if we get more eyeballs on these people and, you know, listens and all that kind of stuff, it's amazing. And
actually Jason Aaron, Star Wars and he's really
he's in Olathe, right?
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I met him a lot, so every time I see him, I was like, I gotta get your autograph.
What's your favorite Jason Aaron, man?
Oh, so I've been on his Southern Bastards. He got another one. It's called C something.
Did he keep writing Southern Bastards? Because like I tried getting volume 1, the collection, and then volume 2 was like pre-order for years.
I made it to I think book 9 or 11. I can't remember.
I think it stops at 11.
Yeah, it was somewhere in there, and then I haven't received any more. But try to see if he's doing it again. So
well, he did some Wolverine, Old Man Logan. I think he did some Thor. I read his Thor stuff. His Thor stuff is the best of all the Thors. And then some individuals, like I think it was the Goddamned, where it was following Cain. In the Exodus. That was like mind blowing, dude.
He's one of my top writers right now.
The
Star Wars. If you into Star Wars, he wrote the main one, the number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't know if people know this. We'll tag them as well. But the library system out here. So we got Mid-Continent Library. We got KC Public Library. And then for folks in Johnson County, you can add those comic books to your queue.
Yeah.
And actually, man, that's, I should say, tell you, I read them as a kid. And I lived in California. And we would have like Palmiotti, the guy who wrote a lot of the Morbius stuff, Living Nightmare, all that. Those guys would come to comic shops when I was a kid. And I have like signed comics of them. And then so I took a break, growing up, being in bands and stuff. And then my wife and I, we had something traumatic happen in our family. And for whatever reason, I was like getting back into comic books. And I read 80 graphic novels in 2018.
Oh, nice.
And all of them were rented from the library. Because I wasn't going to spend all the money. But I got into Swamp Thing, Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing. That, because it was so gnarly, But no, I love nerding out on comic books, and the fact that
I can go all day.
You mentioned Jason Aaron, dude. He's one of the best. I cannot believe how good that guy is. He doesn't write anything that he doesn't like believe in, too. So with you, like we kind of covered like your origin story. We talked about how you do what you do. What are you most excited about with, we'll start with Black Drip right now.
So with Black Drip, the next steps is probably a mobile trailer. I wanted to do a trailer and have my kids and Dan's kids kind of work with us, day by day or on the weekends, just something we can do on the side. It's nothing like real major, like a coffee shop. Coffee shop is more on hands and you're there all the time. So we just want to, have the freedom to kind of work when we want to work. So that's the whole point of doing a mobile trailer. So
absolutely.
The next steps is getting into more stores, spreading our branch to more places, more hotels and more restaurants and so on and so on. So that's the next step.
What does that process look like? I'm just curious. Like you got them in the hotels, right? Like what does that look like? So
it's more of like kind of bidding and being upfront with them and saying, hey, try my coffee, compare it to your coffee. Do your coffee taste good? Do your clientele think that coffee tastes good? Right. They probably not, try this, it's better. And they like, oh, it is good. So yeah.
What's most of the coffee that you've like kicked out of hotels or at least stolen shelf space from?
Well, I don't say stolen.
Sorry, I use a lot of intense terms. Yeah, I'm like, how can we? Because I shared about you and I said, hey, more of this, less Starbucks, right? Like I get really intense about the stuff I like. So all right, not stolen shelf space. You earned shelf space.
It's more of, hey, a lot of people. It's more of like the customers loving the product. So stores, if it's selling and, they will buy more from you. So like at Merc Co+ops, I forgot to mention him. Oh my gosh.
You mentioned him earlier with the places that you've sold. Merc Co+op?
Yeah, Merc Co+ops, and they're in Kansas and Lawrence.
Okay.
So they sell my coffee at their stores too, and it's a grocery store.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went up there and I did a couple vending events up there. So it was nice. It was real nice.
Man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Talking about involving your kids, like how do you involve them in your entrepreneurial endeavors? And even like with the railroad, like what are some important lessons that you're wanting to hand down to your kids? And then where's the pull at? Like, what are they interested in? So what you do?
It's more teaching them that they have the confidence to be able to sell or be able to talk to people. So my son, for some reason, he is really great at being a YouTuber. Like, he will sell you and he'll be like, well, follow us at blah, blah, blah. He would end it, saying he got a YouTube channel and he knows how to do that very well. So when he talks to customers, like I had him at the this vending event, and it was a store and a lot of people were coming, hey, I got coffee here. You want to try it? He would, like me, run down people, talk to them, tell them the story. He would do all that. So yeah, it's more of that. So it's the confidence and being able to sell something to people.
That's so cool. Operationally, like, what are the things that you deal with Black Drip? Because I know you and Dan, you're at the helm still, right? Do you guys have, part-time folks? Do you have interns? Like, how do you run it operationally?
So it was mostly just Dan and I. So we have actually Rob Guy. He's our sales wholesales guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he helps us out quite a lot. But mostly it's just Dan and I doing all the work or whatever, because we mostly wholesale coffee to these places. Okay. And it's more like kind of like drop shipping a little bit. Okay. We don't have to be hands on with the product as much as we used to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, whatever you're comfortable sharing about Porterhouse, because like I picture like, hopefully, like I can have you and Dan talking about that, like an episode or something.
Yeah, most definitely.
Sorry, not to put Dan on the hook here, but
we put him on the hook. I'll tell him. So the Porterhouse KC, next step that we have is the 811 space, which is across from Kitty's Cafe, East 31st Street.
Okay.
It's going to be an amazing spot that will have 8 entrepreneurs selling their products. So they're selling their products, trying to test their products, trying to get in hopes of getting to more places. So you got to fail a couple times in order to get that product to perfection. Almost kind of like WD-40. You know how many times WD-40 failed?
No.
40 to 40 times. That's why it's WD-40.
Are you sick, bro? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does failure look like in the space, like in the 811 space?
So if the business is not doing well, what we do is we go back and we'll see what is the success part of the business, or we go back and we start all the way over and do something else. So that's what the failure part is. So it's not really failing real hard, but it's changing your look or your aspect or your appearance, the way you sell your product.
Right.
If it's not presentable to somebody and they're not interested in it, we got to figure out why not.
And you've got 8 entrepreneurs selected.
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're coming. Yeah.
So what is that? Yeah. What's that process look like?
So the process of that is it's going to be an interview process. We're going to interview entrepreneurs to see if they are fit for the spaces. Right. And we just go that route, and they'll have like their own commercials. They'll be able to present. They have their own stories. They have everything as far as the education. They get education throughout the whole entire process. So it's like you're in a classroom. I call it lab. So I call our space 811 Lab, which is a retail incubator. So I call it that. But they are just going to be learning the whole entire time. And that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. You're reading, You learn it from other people, and you learn from their mistakes, and you perfect your mistakes from their past mistakes. So, yeah.
On that subject, what do you think some of the factors that a person needs to have or develop to be a successful entrepreneur?
To be a successful entrepreneur, so a successful entrepreneur is somebody that is always doing the right thing all the time. I believe in my mind, to me, there is no successful entrepreneur. I believe it's you working all the time. So I believe that it's always that you are going to eventually get to that successful point, but it's probably at the end of the road when you retired and not working. So that probably will be the successful entrepreneur when you're not working at all.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What are some of the things I think that that you think folks are going to learn in the 811 lab? Like, what does success of the 811 lab look like? Like, if people are, then we are successful.
Yeah. So the success part is getting to your own location, get into your own space, get into stores, get into. We want international. We want you to be international. We don't just want you to be local. We want you to be across the United States. We want you to be overseas. We want you to be in Africa, Brazil, just in different places in that aspect. So that's the whole goal.
So, the lab, it sounds like that's going to be a place where people learn how to scale.
Yeah.
What they're doing.
Yeah.
That seems to be a hurdle for a lot of folks. Maybe it is for everyone, who starts something.
So the whole deal to me with products is manufacture. So Kansas City has a real tough manufacturing issue with small business.
Okay.
If you have 50 products or less, it's hard to get that 500 or pay for 500 products, which a lot of manufacturers do in this area. So if small business, they have a moisturizer product. So they need only 50 or probably 20 of them. They can't buy it. They have to do it themselves because the bigger manufacturers want 500 or more or 1,000 or more.
Are we talking like per month or per week?
Per order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they want you to buy the 1,000 products up front when it just don't make sense for a small business. Right. It makes sense for if you was into stores or like that, but small business, it don't make sense to buy 1,000 products when you don't have the money yet.
Right.
So they just need like 20 products or whatever. But we don't have the manufacturers that will help small business with that right now. That's the only issue here in Kansas City that I came across.
Right. And so would you say what's the primary focus? What type of businesses will do the best or learn the most at the 811 lab?
It's mostly retail.
Right. Okay.
Retail, clothing, if you have candles, along that line,
right.
Stuff like that.
So, and I know too, being in Kansas City, like how do you guys inspire that? Like if we're thinking about making something, making it here, right? Like, what does that look like?
Kansas City is the best place to make it, I believe you can start here and you can go anywhere if you want to. Actually, all my, I went to Lincoln College Prep. All my classmates, they are doing successful in other states and they're from Kansas City. So I believe we're definitely the entrepreneur city.
That's so rad, man.
Yeah.
I'm a California transplant. I got here 9 years ago, and I've been screaming about how amazing it is here.
Yeah.
And ever since we got here, and I see a lot of bigger businesses like deciding to set up shop here.
Yeah.
We're also, I wanted this to come up. I'm so glad I thought of this, but we had that vote on the Royals Stadium.
Right.
What was your position on that? Like, what's your position on that?
So my position,
if you're okay with,
my position on that, I was in between. My stance was in between. I I see the yeses and I see the no. The reason I said no was because I felt like they needed more information, tell more information to the community. I felt like they needed more of just more information given to the community to have the back end. I believe they needed to give to the community a little more. Right. This is a community you're serving, so you want to fill them in and make them feel like they're welcome with the vote. You know,
right.
Like what's the incentives behind giving the tax dollars to you, you know, for this property. That's what I believe. You know, I believe our ecosystem, the art district is amazing as it is. I believe that it's kind of tough if they go that route, but if they reach out to community and be like, hey, we want you in this area, or we willing to pay you to be in this area, or they would be like, hey, we can build an art district with the stadium, which I think would be dope.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just more of reaching out to the community, asking questions, and basically doing a survey if they can, you know, to see what people's thoughts or where their heads are. You
make such a great point about it does not have to be so black and white, so binary. I mean, and that was my perception as well, is it was like, here's the plan.
Yeah.
And they said yes or no. And people are like, overwhelmingly no.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's all that nuance, you just called out so many things, man.
Oh, it's a lot.
And when I was in West Bottoms, I support a lot of businesses out there, and I was asking them about it, you know, and, you know, all of them said it was like, well, where are these businesses going to go?
Right.
You know what I mean? And when you just said just now, like, what if they like brought art district in with it, you know, because all the mock-ups in the pictures, it looks almost like a UFO crashed in the middle of the city.
Right. Right.
With a bunch of seats.
Right. Like you can build like art retail along with the stadium or something along the line, just to say, hey, we're putting you in these locations built on the stadium, you know? So it's just, you know, planning a little bit more with the community. So
absolutely,
that's what I feel like needs to happen. Just ask questions and they'll answer it for you.
Right. Well, you know, I think a success story of what you're talking about too, and aside from like the adjustment to everybody learning about the parking in the lanes, but was the airport.
Yeah.
The airport they were so mindful about that, right? Like they brought local Kansas City businesses. They made sure local companies were a part of the building. Right. You know, and that seemed like that was, and I don't know all the nuances. I don't know how many issues or challenges they came up with, but it's kind of like a model, I think, of if you want to expand something like this has some elements of what you should consider.
Right. Or let us know your ideas on, you know, because it just seemed like, hey, we're going to throw this park here. Tell us your details of what you want to do or give to the community.
Right.
And I felt like it wasn't really planned out, or, you know, it was just thrown at us real fast. And
absolutely,
that's what everybody thought too. So
that makes sense. As far as Porterhouse goes, with I know you guys have gotten local support, you've gotten grants, you've got partnerships with UMKC, right?
Yes.
What does the future, I guess, look like for Porterhouse? Maybe just in this next year. You said, you know, 811 Lab, it's getting ready to launch. When is it going to launch?
So we are trying to launch probably end of May.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, probably end of May.
Nice.
We're trying to launch. We're going to do some soft openings here pretty soon. So,
okay.
Just getting everything right. We want it to be picture ready. So we're going to do some interviews and go from there.
Awesome.
So, anything else is going to be future, just spreading out, you know, marketing and getting out there. So
right.
That's right now.
I got to ask you about this too, because I've loved these, but the conversations in cars that you and Dan have done. So is that going to become a podcast or a video cast? I mean, what are you guys going to do with that, man? You got to keep that up.
So we're going to do it monthly. The karaoke in the van. Okay. So we actually do interviews with our alumni.
Okay.
So it's getting
Porterhouse alumni.
Yeah, Porterhouse alumni. So it's getting updates on everybody that went through our program, and they talk about Porterhouse KC and what it have done for their business. And some entrepreneurs, they will tell you up front because they're real about what their business and how successful, or if they're failing, or if they have to go back to their jobs. Because a lot of times entrepreneurs, we don't like to talk about our failures on social media or saying that we're failing or we need help. We don't like to ask for help a lot. It's more of like, I got to cut it off. I got to stop it. It's not you asking for help. So we want to be there and be like, what you need help with. That's why we have the alumni, to see about the entrepreneurs that went through our small business development or the mentor mentee program, and we'll help them out some way or find them help. So that's the whole point of it, to get updates on our entrepreneurs.
Well, we all of us look forward to more of those conversations, man, because I'm telling you, that was so cool. You had somebody from was it Bliss Books and Wine?
Yeah.
What was her name?
That was Lene.
Okay, Lene. Yeah. That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
And you were singing too, man.
Oh yeah, man. So cool. So I have.
They were egging you on too.
Yeah, I know, man. I can't sing a lick.
Me neither, man.
I can't sing a lick. So, but they egg me on and be like, hey, I came up with a karaoke concept because music brings people together. So I was like, this is something that we can have fun and and get an update on our entrepreneurs at the same time. So,
how many people do you have in the mentor mentee program right now?
Right now, we have we kept the class small because we know that the smaller the class is, the more knowledge you can get from these mentors. And we can, jump in there and help out if they need help in different places. So we kept it at 5.
Okay. So you got 5 in the whole program. And then how many mentors do you have for those 5 mentees?
It's probably going to be roughly 8 mentors helping out 5 mentees.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is like deep investment.
Yeah.
What do the mentors offer? The mentees?
The mentors offer, so a lot of them have experience and some of them have they're successful. So they're retired. Some
it's
of
like a qualification to be called a mentor, right?
Right. Some of them are retired, but they're doing pretty well with themselves. So they know the ins and outs of their business. They know the ins and outs helping you with your business. So that's what they're bringing to the table. And they're going through, I think we made it 6 months now.
Oh, wow.
We went from a year to 6 months now. So it's a 6 month process.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just curious about when you talked about music, when you were saying music brings people together, Renegades come up. What are some of your favorite groups or favorite styles of music?
Oh, nice one.
Yeah, man. Felt like the right time to ask.
Oh, right. So right now I've been listening to J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar beef.
Okay. I haven't inserted my own ears into that yet, but I need to. Yeah,
it's not a violent beef. It's more of a diss beef or a rap beef. So it's more, it's a good beef. I've been listening to that, so it's quite funny. But I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar. Who else? I've been on Division, which is an R&B group. Okay.
They're pretty cool. And I listen to a lot of 90s rock.
Awesome, man.
So, what type of 90s rock do you listen to?
Oh, man, we going to go there.
We don't have to, man. You can say pass.
We don't pass. I just listen to all of it, because I believe it's just classic music, 90s.
Yeah, man.
And I can listen to it anytime, any place. So
yeah, me too.
And me being black, you be like, what? Nah,
dude, I love it. I love that.
But we had MTV, so
we did, and it's crazy because MTV was awesome.
Yeah,
because you could see Nirvana 1 minute. And then you'd see DMX the next minute.
Yeah.
And then they started getting into the reality shows. And they tried making their metal channel stuff and they tried to doing that. But the 90s, I know I'm biased, but I feel like that was one of the best and in some cases worst periods of music. But so much of my favorite music came from that. Right. I grew up on, classic rock starting out. And then I was a late bloomer with country and rap and hip hop. And when I was in the band, we would tour and it was the last thing we wanted to listen to was rock music, so we'd put on hip hop, I was talking to somebody the other day. We were talking about how, Whitney Houston, rest in peace, man, her voice. My wife and I, we saw Tony Braxton at T-Mobile Center. I think it was in 2016. Yeah. And we were in the suite and it was she's one of the last ones, left that voice, that era. Right. And we got into this conversation about the newer stuff and he was talking about what his teenage daughter listened to. And he's like, man, I don't understand some of this stuff. And I go, yeah, my girls, I got a 4 and a 6-year-old. So they'll get to that period where all my music sucks. Yeah. And they like the new stuff. But
I was just thinking if
it's good, it's good.
Of our parents were the same way. What are you guys listening to? So your music is horrible, but when you listen back to Uncle Luke and which is he was rap.
Okay.
So when you listen back to his music and you're like, oh man, our moms were listening to bad stuff too. So right. But my kids, their lyrics and music is a little bit different than ours.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I'm willing to understand it or can understand it, but I work with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess too, as a dad, you said, I'm helicopter dad. Oh, what does that look like, man? What kind of journey are you on as a father?
Just being there and teaching them the little stuff that, normal kids usually don't get. So I'm just hands-on with them, teaching them how to tie their shoes, teaching them how to change a tire or change a battery in a car. Yeah, I went through a stage where I taught my son how to change batteries in cars, how to lawn the mow or mow the lawn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And just little stuff, little things that they can kind of pick up trades on. So it's more of the teaching aspect more than anything. So I want them to know everything that other kids don't. They knew how to count. They knew how to read at an early age. So all the above.
Dude, I love that. I want them to know things that other kids don't. That is powerful. I took my girls to their first daddy-daughter dance last night, because I'm a girl dad, right? I love that. And I was just thinking about it. And talk about music. They were playing songs that were at my wife and I's wedding. We've been married for almost 20 years, Oh, man. And Outkast Hey Ya came on. And I was like, I could have sworn this was at our wedding. But then it was 2003. And it could have been. Sorry, squirrel. Right. I chase squirrels all the time. I do that all the time, dude. But I thought about it, and I thought, man, one of my biggest goals with my kids is I want them to learn how to think critically. Right. I want them to know. And when you said earlier, I like working with my hands. I like being outside. Right. And I want my kids to know. You mentioned the trades. Yeah. Do you feel like that's something that we're kind of maybe we're losing, or we need to figure out as a society, we need more people in the trades and working with their hands? I guess that's my way of asking, what's your philosophy on work?
We do. It's just the pay got to equal out to your work. I feel like the groundwork are the people working, but the pay is not there like it used to be. Even with the railroad, we have issues with hiring. Yeah, surprisingly, yeah, I'm surprised too.
I mean, that's a job that's typically like, it's hard to get into. There's a lot of levels.
Yeah, it's hard to get guys to actually work, So that's the issue we're running into. So it's more of my kids. They love string games. They love Steam. They love all that. They love just computers in general, but they are mostly in tune with YouTube. YouTube is real huge. And I guess the kids, they're more into influencers. So I just want them to have hands-on with just being off the computer altogether. So if they are away from computer or away from TV and, hands-on doing this, then I feel like it's helping them.
Absolutely.
So it's just getting kids, they can read books and stuff too.
And that's the thing that we have too. Like, we grew up during a time where, AOL, it was like if you made a phone call at a house while they were on AOL, it was like the phone call wasn't getting through.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't have to grow up with our lives online.
Right.
That's something that I think, I try to be mindful of too. My wife and I have talked about this. I mean, there's a documentary for all this stuff about social media and the computers and stuff. And it's like, I want them to know how to use these things. I want them to be adept at YouTube and stuff. But it's like finding that balance of like being outside. I mean, when I grew up, it's like I could be out on my Huffy bike until 10 o'clock and just come home when it was dark, and it was like fine.
Right. Yeah, I kind of push my kids outside. So go out there. But they know how to use a computer really, really good though. They can hold more stuff than me sometimes. And
that's part of them being raised in it too. Like I saw my kid like working the remote the other day and working my wife's iPad, we weren't mindful about that, but like she knows now. You touch the thing and it opens. And
it's like, how you know that? Oh, I just watched it. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, kids are dope though. I just, outside is the thing to do, parks. I take them to parks. We go fishing.
That's awesome.
So sometimes I'll be like, man, let's go fishing. They'd be like, oh yeah, let's go. My daughter, she's a little scared, but she gets out there. She'll like, help me, we'll throw it out there. And we catch our little fish. We good. Yeah. So it's nothing big, but yeah, it's fun.
And I think that's something cool about retail too, is the value of going to a space to grab the shirt off the rack. And look at it and like, feel it and be there. That's an experience. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe you definitely have a stronger pulse on this than I do. But like, have you seen people like wanting to be more in a retail space since like everything that happened with COVID and being stuck inside, and like everybody ordered with Amazon and
most definitely. So Amazon and being there, people want to experience. They want to do Instagram photos. They want,
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
They want to be social. They want to be at places that are unique, places that, friends can come to or people can come to and, have a good time or experience all together.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like when you have a whiskey and, you have the smoker and you have the smoke come from it and they have that smoky taste and the cognac. Yeah. It's the same thing, just experience.
So cool, man.
Yeah.
When we're talking about what you bring to Kansas City that nobody else can do, what are some of those things that I think you as yourself, Charon Thompson, you with Black Drip, you with Porterhouse, like what are you doing that is maybe your guys' gift or your strength that, I'll just leave it there.
Yeah. So the way Dan and I operate, we just bring ourselves, we're feet down and boots on the ground and going all in. We're going, to help you to the fullest that we can, or find someone who know how to help you. So, it's just giving us all to the entrepreneurs, or giving all the help to anybody that needs help. So, as far as Black Drip, it's just hands on. We if you ask us questions, we'll answer the questions. We're there. Yeah. So it's just us giving back.
Absolutely.
Giving back to the community. That's everything from our hearts from Kansas City, giving back to Kansas City. So
what are some breakthroughs that you guys have seen since going on the journey with Black Drip?
The breakthroughs are the connections. Yeah, it's always networking. We come across a lot of entrepreneurs that don't necessarily know how to do an elevator pitch, or how to sell their business. They know how to, some of them, let me back up. Some of them do know how to sell their business, but it's getting to a bigger market. So that's the thing that we want to do for entrepreneurs is get to a bigger market and more help, be more mindful of how you talk to people, have that presence when it needs to be there. And it's mostly just networking.
Absolutely. Who mentors you?
Who mentors me?
Yeah, man. Because you are an inspirational force to people.
Right.
But you also, as a husband, father, business owner, influencer, you need people to help you too.
Thank you.
That's where I'm going with that.
Thank you. So my person I go to is actually my partner, Dan Smith. Yeah, I ask him everything. I would say he's my mentor, brother. We are best friends. Let's say I also listen to Deion Sanders a lot.
Yeah, buddy. Coach Prime.
I was always into Deion Sanders. Man, ever since high school, when he was with Atlanta, I was always a Deion Sanders primetime fan. Even when he went to Dallas, San Francisco, Yeah, he was the guy, the shutdown cornerback. So yeah. I wanted to be like that. I had 21 on my jersey.
On what jersey? What sport did you play?
Football.
Sweet. What position did you play?
I was a defensive back.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I was pretty fast. Not anymore, but
yeah. Man, who else, man? Who like do you read business books or like
So, let's see. There's a lot of people, man. Oh, I can go days. I just stick to local. So mostly I look up to, I read a lot of Startling News. I read a lot of KC Biz Journal. Let's see. I mostly The Call, Dispatcher. The Pitch, Sean Edwards. Let's see, Sean Tyler he used to be with 103.
Okay.
He's one of the guys. So I follow a lot of social medias right now.
Right.
KC Discovery. It's two of them. I get them mixed up, but I mostly just follow those and keep up with the news and what's going on with our community. As far as business wise, just going to places. I like going. I follow. It's crazy. I follow this group on Facebook called Kansas City Secrets. And it's a group that you just ask questions like what's to do tonight in Kansas City, and like hundreds of people will answer you what is it to do in Kansas City, or where can I find a speakeasy. They will all answer, you can find speakeasy, blah blah blah. And I love that group, man. That's one of my groups to go to if I want something around Kansas City, or to find anything in Kansas City that is new and unique and a trend or something going on. Right.
I love how you find the good things in social media too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I think especially these days, social media just gets mostly a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about Kansas City that I tell people. And I've told people about this podcast too. It's like one of many reasons why Kansas City is so amazing is because we have all we need
right
here. We have everybody, everyone, every product, everything that we need.
Right.
We're building connections. We're all networking. We're trying to inspire and raise up future generations of entrepreneurs in all spaces. And we have everything we need.
Right.
And to other cities, if they don't have what we have going on here, they can use Kansas City as a model.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You know, we've got people that are, you know, I think, you know, a lot with the Chiefs and then the Royals back in 2015, like people, you know, sports wins are always awesome. Business wins are always awesome for a city. It attracts people here.
Right.
You've got the whole Silicon Prairie vibe going on. I think it's Lincoln, Nebraska is one of them. That's like a tech hub. Kansas City's
A tech hub.
been a tech hub,
Right.
You know, but we've got everything that we need here.
Right. I feel like more people are coming too. Yeah, more people are moving to Kansas City. It's a livable city, you know?
Absolutely.
It's family oriented, you know? You can bring your family, raise your family. Actually, a lot of football players that go off to other cities or whatever when they, you know, in the NFL, because you move around.
Yeah.
Their families actually stay in Kansas City.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they stay here in Kansas City because it's, you know, the kids like Kansas City. Families love Kansas City. So, yeah.
Yeah. We had talked about a little bit, you know, other things you wanted to discuss, asking about the podcast world. So,
oh, yeah.
You know, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. If you wanted to talk about some stuff, man.
Yeah. What do you think about the podcast world? I mean, is it tough out there, or is it, you know, branching off, or do you take sponsors? Are you getting sponsors?
Man, that's a great question. So I guess, and man, I'm so glad that you brought that up. Cause I get so used to interviewing people.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I want to make it. I want them to talk twice as much as I do and all this stuff, but I can tell you what I learned, you know, and a little bit about my journey. So like I got laid off back in March.
Right.
Listeners of the show have heard me tell this version of this story in one way or another, but I found so many helpful entrepreneurs in Kansas City. You know, that put me on a search. It's like Cam talked about the RAS, the reticular activating system. Like if you're looking for a yellow car,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you start seeing every yellow car out on the road.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Yes, that's true.
I started seeing every single entrepreneur. I found you. I found Dan. I found, you know, Alan over at the Combine, which I had already supported. But then it was like, oh, like I always thought Alan was cool. Like I should talk to Alan, or, you know, and that's how I found, you know, I just started going down the rabbit hole. And I think to be a podcaster, I think maybe one of the number one things, and I'm not like the most successful one by listens and subscribers and stuff, but I will say something that I think you've got to have is you have to be hungry to learn. You have to like talking to people. You got to love research and stuff. And then of course there's the theme. It's like, what's your podcast about? And that's the thing I've had to figure out, man. Like I started in the very beginning. It was like, I think I had this idea. It was in August. Okay. Yeah. That's when I was like, I'm going to do this. And I started doing research, and it was like, we had business podcasts out here. We had, podcasters that would interview nationwide. Right. But I hadn't seen something that was like specifically entrepreneurs and nonprofits. Right. And only the qualification is you have to be in Kansas City. Yeah. You got to run it from Kansas City, you know? And so I started with that idea, but like I've had such an eclectic mix of people. Yeah. And so that's the thing that I've just learned to stay open to, you know, so being open to, you know, I'll talk to anybody who wants to talk about business. There's the hurdle of like availability, getting people on the show. Like we're about to go to video, like my wife, I'm going to help her relaunch her podcast. Okay. And we're going to go to like Riverside Video Programming. Actually, you may be the last person that I have here in Kingdom, bro. Nice. So this is kind of epic right here. Cause like, I didn't know I was going to be doing seasons, but this might be the season cause it's the end of the first era. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Cause we're going to go to video, and like, the reason why, and this is why I want to have you on the show again in the future, like maybe in a few months when we get cameras and we get our studio set up, we want to do the whole thing like that you see with the bigger podcasts. Nice. And so that's the big thing. That's the pull, man. It's to do video, right? You know, do captions, do, you know, all those things. Definitely believing in what I do. Yes. You know, it's like, because you know this too, man. There's going to be people in family or like people that you wanted to support you.
Yes.
And, you know, they're like, this is not what I signed up for. Like I knew previous you.
Right.
Before you were an entrepreneur, before you know what I mean? And so like, I'll clap for you, but like, if I'm not following, you know, no big deal. But that's been the biggest thing for me.
Nice.
You know, to stay motivated and then just find people in my tribe, you know, like KCBC tribe that's come up, like anybody who interviews on the show, if they want to meet another guest, that I will happily make the introductions.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And making it like a learning thing. You know, I was able to monetize because we got to a certain amount of subscribers, but ads haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
You know, but it's something, you know, I envision, you know, I'd love to get there. But one thing I know is like consistency, you know, and you got to be consistent no matter what.
You do. You do. So, one of the funny thing you said that I interviewed actually Joe Goldberg.
Who's Joe Goldberg? I'm sorry.
He's the voice of the Royals.
Oh, wow. Wow.
If you know the Royals, Joe Goldberg, you know, he's the voice of the Royals. I actually interviewed, it's kind of hard to interview him right now because the Royals game and stuff. But he was the, I interviewed him and I can't remember. It was probably during COVID, 21 year. Yeah. It was actually at the other Plex Pod when it was on Westport.
Okay.
It was upstairs or whatever. We went there and interviewed him, asked him some questions. He had a book that came out. And that was a dope experience. But his thing was consistency. And he put clips out there.
Yep.
He actually went to video too. And actually, it was kind of like Zoom, you know, you're in one room and it was kind of like that. But he's doing pretty well. He actually did Heismer not too long ago.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. When he retired. Yeah.
I'll look him up too. And that's the one thing I'll say too, is like, I'm a stickler for quality. And it's like, even though I haven't had video on here, I will pull clips and that's why I love how you sent multiple pictures. You sent multiple logos, because what we'll do is we're going to make those reels for you in your episode. And when we go to the video, I'm going to use Riverside, which is a program that syncs with Spotify, because I push out through Spotify.
Right.
And I've watched New Heights.
Okay.
They are the podcast to study.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to Zoom interviews, because you'll see when they speak, when Travis starts talking, he takes up the full screen.
Yeah.
And then the moment Jason starts talking, he takes up the full screen. And then there's times where they're both chattering and they're both on there, and then they put B-roll in it.
Yeah.
The thing about that is that takes a lot of time.
It do.
And I'm a dad, and I got a full-time job. I got my own business. I'm a business consultant. I got a podcast. And so again, it's like, I've got 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else. For me, since I can't expand time, I need to be super efficient. And I gotta be really good at saying no to things.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Let's talk about that. Talking to, actually with Brian with Black Pantry. I was telling him I had to say, no, actually, I'm sorry. It was Chris Good with Ruby Jeans. We was just talking about that this morning, how we have to say no to a lot of events. I was telling him my kids are into soccer, basketball, boxing, softball. No telling what's next, you know. And I was saying, people want you to be at events and support them. And I was like, I want to support them, but I do not have time to support them.
That's right, man.
It was like, I was, like I said, I would send you a message. I would say, I love you. You know, I wish I could be there, but I just can't be everywhere all at the same time. So Dan, and this is the funny thing. If Dan can't be somewhere, I would go. And
that's awesome.
If I can't be somewhere, Dan would go. So that's the same with my wife too, because she's in a nonprofit realm. We want to be at some events together. Someone has to watch the kids. We don't have the traditional parents that watch the kids all the time, like how The grandma used to be, the grandmas are working now, they're wanting to live their life, so it's a little different. So we have more of, maybe our auntie will watch the kids every now and then, but it's mostly just one or the other. And we're, like I said, we're hands-on with our kids, teaching aspect. They ask us questions all the time. It's probably no spare, free time, but we try to find some.
I love that, man. You just strike me as you're super intentional about when you say yes. Your yes is going to be your yes.
Yeah.
That the thing, like, going back to that, getting really good at saying no, getting really good at giving people news that they don't want to hear, and doing it with grace. Yeah. And, that's the other thing, man. I feel like, everyone out there probably can identify, at least if they've lived some life, of what it's like when you say yes too much. You start, man, you buy yourself so much trouble, and, you can't be everywhere at once.
Right.
So you got to be really good at saying yes to the right things. And then when you're trying to, this is the other thing I'd say, and this is like on the subject of doing the podcast too. It's like, you become a public figure.
Oh yeah.
And when you're a public figure, it's like, you have to think so much more about the people and the causes and all that stuff you align yourself with and all that, and what things you decide what you're gonna bite off in your endeavors, and what you're not gonna touch, and I know I'm speaking in generalities and stuff, but it's like, I avoided doing this for 10 years, man.
Oh man, you should have been on a long time.
I know.
You should have been on the radio too.
Dude, people told me that for years. I was part of it too. They're like, "Oh, you got a voice for radio and all." And I think you do too.
I think at some voice right now.
Dude, you do. And you got, your conversation too. I mean, I would love to see the Charon show.
That's funny.
Maybe you and Dan can do it. I would put Dan on the hook. Dan, I'm just picture like he's sitting right here.
Dan be trying to be shy, but he's actually a great speaker. He actually teaches at KU business. And he's pretty dope, and, someone to talk to. Everybody wants to talk to Dan,
Yeah,
he's pretty.
It's like you're reinventing yourself, and I think it was Ethan Suplee. He runs a podcast now. He was an actor. He used to be, I think he was pushing like 400, 500 pounds, and he got in really good shape, and he calls it killing his clone.
Yeah.
Every day. Everybody's got something. Yeah. It's like, I'm 1% better every day. Or like David Goggins, it's like, be better, stay hard, all these other things, like being better every day. But that's the thing, is like, you have to look at it as like, I'm changing. Like I'm being the person, I'm being the change I want to see in the world.
Yeah.
Like Gandhi said, right? It's an age old quote. Everybody's heard it, but it's like, if you're sitting around waiting for somebody else to do something in your life, right? And when I say you, I mean audience, listeners. Right. It's like, maybe you should be the person that steps up. And so that was part of it too. It was like, I was like, okay, well, I think somebody should do this podcast. Maybe I'm not the best one to do it, but I'm going to start it.
That's dope.
I'm going to go. And, we've talked about it. I can't believe I'm saying this on air, man, but we've talked about like doing KCBCon.
Yeah.
And
do it. Do it.
We'd have to find a place to do it. Right. And so I put out a poll like 2 weeks ago, and a few of the people who've interviewed on the show, they're like, you could use my spot. But we would, maybe we could do this.
Yeah.
We could see. But that's the other thing, man, is like letting other people speak that into your life.
Yeah.
And say, this is what I see in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like to be able to think bigger than you can think.
Yeah.
Do
it, man. So another thing is, if you don't try it, then it's just a thought, it's just something that you've been dreaming about. So just do it. Go with it.
Were you always so good at just doing it?
So a lot.
Got the Nike swoosh thing going on here. Just do it.
I know, right? I would say I get a lot of push from family and friends. So I would say my wife, she pushes me, and hey, do it. You're doing good. Dan pushes me. I got a couple best friends. So I have a small crew. You know, they don't know. Some of them know each other, but they don't. We all hang out all together.
Sure.
I don't know. It's a weird crew.
I call that I call that a bullpen.
Yeah, a bullpen.
I got people.
Yeah. So if I call them, they'll come. But you know, I just ask them questions, and they support me and they push me, and that's what you want on your corner. You know, somebody that referee, or you know, what's the coach? That's the boxing coach. That's, hey, rubbing your shoulders. Hey, here's some water. Yeah. Get in there, and the coaching in your ear. Yeah, you want that. You want that.
Absolutely, man.
You definitely got the radio part, man. You got that down, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Researching and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing too. Like that's another reason why this is such a cool moment to have you here. And that, like, especially talking about your time, like, and that's another thing too, why I'm getting better at saying no and yes, and how to manage this stuff, is because that is literally our most valuable resource.
Yeah.
You know, but, I mean, everybody I have on the show, it's like by the time I've got them here in the seat, it's like, it's been 2 months of like, I've been engaging with you on social media.
Right.
You know, you sent me that kit too, man. I loved that so much. And it was like that day in the house, like, I was like, Steph, you got to try this coffee. Here, I saved one for you. And like, that was a lot because I wanted to drink it. Right. You know, but just again, the power of social media, man. It's like, if we support each other, and it's, I think, I can't remember which verse it is, but as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, you know, and keeping people around you that are they're not going to settle for you settling.
Right.
You know, they're going to say, hey, dude, you know what? That presentation was kind of weak.
Yeah. They will be real with you.
You have to find the people, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's what's the meme I saw the other day? It was like, I want people that are going to be able to talk crap to my face and talk good behind my back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, just they're going to tell me the things that everybody else is scared to say.
Yeah.
You know, but being open to it. So family and friends, that's awesome, man. You know, I'm trying, there was something I was thinking about when we were talking a bit ago. Yeah. I wanted to ask you how the coffee crawl went this morning.
Oh, it went surprisingly well. The reason why I say it went well is because it was people that weren't from Kansas City.
Whoa.
Yes. It was some people that were from Omaha, from Iowa, Minnesota. And then we had some local big time coffee drinkers that love coffee. Like, they can drink probably 10 cups and 12 cups and they're fine. I'm like, man, that 1 cup, I'm jittering. And, you know, I'm be up all night. They like, man, I can go to sleep. I was like, wow. So it was really, really dope experience for caffeine crawl.
Caffeine crawl. Yeah. Sorry. Got that wrong. And like, how often is that stuff coming up? Is that like kind of seasonal too? That doesn't really happen in the winter, right? So
he's gonna bring some more around. This was more of a local deal he was doing, but I think he's kind of everywhere. You know, he's traveling.
Who's he? Sorry.
His name is I believe is John or Jack. I can't remember.
Okay.
Can't remember his name off the top. But I just met him today.
Okay.
But actually, I know him from Link. He went to my high school too. But yeah, he was before me. He was like 94. I'm 2000. So
okay.
Yeah, but it was man, it was dope. It was dope. Man, they supported me. They love the coffee. They took some cans of Black Drip cold brew, and then Ruby Jeans. It was at Ruby Jeans. They made a smoothie with my coffee.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, it was a special, like, for the day?
It was a special smoothie with the coffee. Oh my
gosh, man.
Yeah, so I'm trying to put that on the menu. Hey, we got the Black Drip smoothie. So wow. Yeah.
And there's just like, there is literally no limits with what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, how can people support you?
Just get coffee, black drip coffee. Yeah, buy a bag. You know, I can special order. I got these cigar boxes going. Somebody just brought one from me today. Surprisingly, she was like, "I want that box." I was like, "Okay." I was like, I wasn't selling them yet, but yeah, she brought the box. This cigar box is really nice. It's custom. It got a picture of Dan and I when we was holding bags for the Kansas City Star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a pretty dope picture. It's probably like one of my favorite pictures of black drip coffee.
It's my favorite picture. You guys look like bosses, man.
Yeah.
Just
we didn't expect it. We was just up here holding the bags and yeah. So you get a picture of that, and then we also have one with just black drip on it.
Right.
Yeah, just the logo. That is pretty sweet. You know, you can put your cigars or tea, coffee. We're eventually going to do tea too. So
wow,
yeah,
man.
That's why I took
I'm getting the chills just hearing you say that. Sorry, that's why what?
I took the coffee with culture.
Yep.
Yeah, I took that off because black drip was more than just the coffee. You know, it can be tea, it can be different products. So that's why. Yeah.
You could have black drip whiskey.
Yeah. Hey, if you know anybody that's out there experimenting, you know, whiskey,
there's got to be. There's got to be.
I hope so, man. I
Man.
hope so.
Black drip cigars.
Man. Hey, you can dip your cigar in coffee. It's so many ways you can do it. Because I did a Bailey's actually for brothers and what's it called? Jack and Jill organization. I did an event and they wanted Bailey's or some alcohol in there, and I was like, I got your hookup, you know, black drip. We're pouring in there, you know. So they had Bailey's in there, you know, and it was really good. Oh man, so sweet. Yeah,
so cool.
You can do margaritas with it. Sheila Johnson of Gangster Goodies, she did a margarita.
She interviewed you and Dan, right?
Yeah.
Man, it's a funny side note, but that was the way I figured out how to pronounce your name.
Oh, sure.
I was like, I want to make sure I say his name correctly. Sid Balakrishnan and I talked about that a couple episodes ago. I was saying, man, I take people's names so seriously and pronouncing things. It's like, I care about that. But so Sheila, she did it. And you guys had the roaster and you guys, that was such a good video, man. I'll tag her as well. I'm going to run out of characters on Instagram tagging people.
It's a lot of people. We can go down the line.
She's so cool. That was such a good interview, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That was her, man. She's amazing.
It was like Home Shopping Network almost.
Yeah.
You see the camera angles and stuff. Yeah. What about Porterhouse KC? What's the best way to support Porterhouse KC and everything that you guys are doing?
Just support us by, subscribing to us, liking us. We're going to do a donation box. If you want to donate, you don't have to, but we just want to support with the retail, the 811 space. Come through for the experience. Come through, have fun. You can bring your family. We're going to have events there too. So our back space, whenever it's done, will be available for event spaces.
Man, that's so cool. You guys can do so much there.
Oh,
I mean, having a physical space, dude.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And is that the first for Porterhouse KC, or do you have a location right now?
So we actually have a space off 18th and Vine.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Oh.
Yeah, we have a space off 18th and Vine, which is more of our classroom setting space. So we don't really utilize it as a retail space. It's more of the learning center. So
got it,
so to speak. That's what I call it. Nobody else call it that.
I mean, that's a solid name. That's what people are going to as well, calling them learning centers. It's a place where people come to concentrate and learn.
Right.
Man, it has been so awesome having you on the show. Was there anything else that you wanted to discuss or something that you forgot to talk about? We can
talk all day, man.
I could talk to you all day, dude.
Yeah, it's so much going on in the entrepreneur community. We all together in this together. We all support each other. We all try our best to be at all these events, and we just getting together in Kansas City, making Kansas City better for the better. It's always it's been better, but always room for improvement.
Better for the better, man. I love that, dude. That's such a good note to end on, man. Charon, it's been so good having you here, dude.
Thank you. It's a pleasure,
Appreciate
man,
you.
being here, man. This is so dope, man. Yeah, I wish you the best in your radio, the video, man, podcast, and everything, man. I wish you the best. This is a dope experience. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. All right, everybody. You heard Charon talk about how you can support him and what they're doing, him and Dan at Porterhouse KC and Black Drip. Thank you again for listening. Remember, this show is all about the testimonies, the origin stories, the growth, and the learning from entrepreneurs. Please share this episode. Tell everybody you know. Be inspired. Go out there and create. And if you have any questions and want to get in touch with any of our guests, we don't make that a secret. Just check the show notes. Thank you so much.